Identity 5 gamers, today it is time for a Q&A. It's been a while since we did one of these, and because I've been getting so many questions during live streams for COA, I figured now would be a good time for a quick little Q&A before the finals begin. So, let's not waste any time and get right into the first question. Before we get into it, I do want to say thank you to everybody who left questions. We did actually get over 320 comments, which is pretty insane. That's quite a lot of comments. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, I will not be able to answer all of them. However, I'll try to answer as many as I can. But just a quick thank you to everybody who left a comment. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to do that. So, our first questions here come from Q, and they asked 4 questions here. First question here says, if you were to be an IDV character, what kind of character do you think you'd be, such as the design, abilities, and lore? So I've thought about this one briefly, but I don't really know what like all the intricacies and details would be. But I feel like the OC they currently have at least would somewhat be similar to the design, although you'd have to make the outfit like a little more old-timey. I don't know, I feel like my outfit is a little more modern for IDV. But my abilities, I'd essentially be a decoder, because as somebody who's like mainly prioritizes filming and editing, I feel like I would essentially I would be like a survivor clerk, where I'd be able to like take recordings of decoding progress and put them somewhere else. I would have like somewhat similar abilities to Prisoner and Pharaoh Lady, but I would just literally be able to record decoding progress and like from one cipher and take it to another. I don't really know how it would work in the gameplay, because I feel like that'd be kind of hard to balance, but it would be something like that. As for my lore, I don't really know. I feel like it would just be me. But that would also need like some tragic backstory, so I don't know. I don't really have a tragic backstory. I would need one of those. Their second question is, have you ever taken this 16 personalities test? If you have, do you mind sharing the result? I've never even heard of that. I'm sorry, I've never heard of that. If that's something we can do online, maybe we could do it during a live stream, but yeah, I've never heard of that before. The third question is, what's your daily life as a content creator? I'm considering doing YouTube sometime in the future, but I don't know if I have what it takes. Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. It's different for every single YouTuber, honestly. It really depends on your schedule. If you're a solo creator, like sometimes you're with a team, sometimes you have editors. For me, I'm a one-man creator. I don't have any editors. I don't have any thumbnail artists, etc. I do everything myself. Like, most everything is done by me. And that can get pretty overwhelming sometimes, especially when you have multiple channels, because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work sometimes. For me, at least, I work 12-hour days. I work from around 10 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Some days longer, some days a little bit shorter. But I usually wake up around 8:30 or 9, take care of some stuff, do some chores, exercise a little bit. Then I play ranks until noon. From noon until I want to say around 5, that's like in between rank sessions. That's really just, I do anything that needs to get done that day, whether it's playing a certain character for IDV, editing something, working on something for a different channel, working on other things. It's just, it depends on the day, but I'm usually just doing recording or editing some of those things. In the future, there's probably going to be live streams from 1 to 4, but I'll get into that later for a different channel, not for IDV. And then I usually tend to try to leave like 5 through 7-ish a little more open. And if nobody wants to play rank, like if I'm not going to plan on playing rank, I just continue doing what I was doing earlier. And then from 7 to 10, I usually just edit. That's usually just like editing period. Unless like there's a maintenance, then I usually focus on what happened after maintenance. But usually from those times, I'm just editing. After 10, I usually just hang out with my roommate, eat dinner, watch some Yu-Gi-Oh! And then, unfortunately, depending on when my roommate goes to bed, because she usually goes to bed earlier, sometimes I'll just stay up and work some more. Some days I'll just chill. It really just depends on the day. But yeah, I feel like a lot of time recently I've just been like kind of working even after I hang out with my roommate. And I usually don't go to bed till like 2:30, 3 in the morning. So yeah, that's usually what my schedule looks like. I really need to do other things though, that is for sure. Their fourth question here is, will you ever play tarot mode with Hikaru, Santi, and Zeus? That's a good question. That's a solid maybe. First thing is first is we'd all have to be free at the tarot time. Second thing, we'd all have to be instant in playing. And third, tarot mode takes forever to match. I'm sorry, it literally takes forever. to get matchmaking. It really does. So I don't know if they'd be interested, because every time I've tried to film a tarot video, it ends up being like 20-25 minute wait times, and like when I have to film videos daily, that's just too long to wait. That's why you see sometimes I'll play on like my alternate account when it comes to matchmaking, because sometimes I want to play a hunter and it's like, okay, wait 5 to 10 minutes per match. I don't have that time, so I need to play on an alt just to get those done. Next up, we have some questions here from Sarah. I believe that's how other names are pronounced. I apologize if I butcher anybody's name in this video, by the way. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. But they say, hi Zeez, I've been wanting to ask these questions for a while. First question they ask is, how did your bias switch from composer to Melly? So that's a great question. When I first joined IDV, I think it's no secret that all I did was play Doc, because I was so scared to have a character that couldn't heal, especially when I was mostly up against bots. You know, you'd get one hit, run around a little bit, and then the bot would just like go on somebody else. That's kind of usually what I just waited for. I didn't really know how the game worked. So essentially, like for the first 2 to 3 weeks, all I did was play Doc until I unlocked the Rantaro Prisoner skin from the Danganronpa crossover, and then all I did was play Prisoner. I would just play Prisoner, and then I started playing the Coordinator because I got the Kyoko skin from the Danganronpa crossover, and that was kind of my main for a while. And then from Coordinator, I went to Composer because I thought he looked so cool. I played him, I watched him in the lore. I thought he looked really, really cool. And I just liked the being able to play music. Being able to play music while you were like in a match. I thought that was just really cool, how he was so completely different from every other survivor. And then when it came to Melly, I always thought she was like really interesting and mysterious, but I didn't really know what much of her gameplay was. And then I saw her being played in tournaments, and I was like, whoa, this character looks really, really cool. I should play her more. And then I played her more, and it was like, that was it. It just clicked. I was like, this is just my character, bro. Like, the gameplay, it just fit my playstyle perfectly, because she can technically do like so many different little things. Her design is like peak. I started looking to her lore, and I was like, wow, this character is just so interesting. Like, everything about Melly is just, she's just so cool, and I'm so happy to like be a fan of her, because she makes me happy. It's like so simple to having a favorite character. That's just how it really is. Composer's still a close second though, but it's just like, I don't know. I just played with Melly and everything just kind of clicked from there. Their second question is, have you ever met your IDV friends Santi, Zeus, Hikaru, etc. in person? Are you planning to? Currently, I never have met any of them in person, and I have no plans to. But I think it would be really cool to meet some of them in the future someday. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to travel, at least for Santi, in and out of the US, because it's not exactly the best time to travel into the US at the moment, and I don't really know how much it is or how safe it is traveling outside of the US either. So I'm a little nervous about something like that. But for Zeus and Hikaru, it would be really interesting to meet them someday. Yeah, I would love to. And their third question says, I nominate you for the USC Speak Your Mind Challenge. You have 24 hours. So I didn't know what this was, but it's a USC Speak Your Mind Ice Bucket Challenge, which is a social media campaign launched by students at the University of South Carolina, and it aims to raise awareness to reduce the stigma surrounding mental health. I just kind of looked that up there real quick, and as much as cool as I think that is, I'm all for like raising awareness around mental health. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show my face, and I'm not going to pour an ice bucket over my head. I would if I was comfortable showing my face, but for now I am not, so I decline, but I appreciate the nomination. And I hope that, that trend goes well. I hope more people pay attention to mental health, because it's a very important thing. Next up, we have some questions here from Naixa. Their first question is, what is your favorite flower type? Mine is Lotus. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite flower type. I mean, I don't want to be the most basic person of all time, but I do think roses are pretty cool. I've always been a big fan of blue roses. Those are pretty cool. Hydrangeas are pretty cool. Those ones that look like bells are pretty cool. I don't really know what they're called, but they're neat. I don't know. I'd have to look at that. I'm not really sure. Their second question is, if you had a chance to make a new survivor role, what would it be, such as librarian or engineer, etc.? I think it's funny because they actually call aeroplanist the engineer, or something like that in Japanese. But yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. I think the biggest thing that I'm currently wanting right now is Chemist for Sam Borbin. I was talking about this in a live stream. Sam Borbin is so connected to the lore in so many different ways, especially with Orpheus, and I really, really want to see more Sam Borbin lore, because I think it would give more insight into Melly and Orpheus's character, as well as Barmaid as well on the side. Like, it would be really cool to have Sam in the game, and like him being a chemist, I feel like he could have some really interesting abilities. The third question is, do you think Hunter's Melly form will be the same like Hullabaloo, like having no attack recovery? I'm not entirely sure about that one. I think they're going to keep the no attack recovery for Hullabaloo alone. It seems like whenever they have like a hunter that can defy game properties like that, they usually only leave it to like one character, so I don't think they would do something like that for Melly. But my wish is that Hunter Melly will be a chase and map pressure hunter. I really don't want her to be strong with camp. I think camping hunters tend to be very, very boring, and I would be really sad if Melly was just like mid-chase, mid-pressure, and then just insane camp. Like, that would be very sad in my personal opinion, because then she'd just be Bon. And our final question is, which theme is your favorite in Essences? So I'm not entirely sure what you mean by theme. I guess it's maybe like what my favorite essence is. That's kind of hard because some essences are carried by the characters in them, and then some essences are carried by like how interesting the theme is. Like, for example, I absolutely love Season 36 Essence 2, the Archer Essence. I think all those costumes are absolutely beautiful, dude. Like, they are some of the most interesting and beautiful costumes this game has ever seen, especially the Archer skin. That skin is so good. Honestly, that is a top 10 S tier in my personal opinion. It looks amazing, dude. We need more skins like that. It is so freaking cool. And then, for example, the upcoming Little Girl Essence. I think that one is really cool, really interesting, really unique. It's just not for me, right? Because I don't really care too much about the characters in them, like Little Girl, Feaster. I like Wendy, but not like enough to be like, I gotta pull for her, you know? But you know, it's like on that essence, I'm not really personally interested that much. So it really depends on like the characters as well. But you know, a lot of the COA themes I really like COA 8, really like COA 7. Despite I'm not really a huge fan of COA 6, but I love that Melly's in it, and she kind of carries that for me. So I really like COA 6 as well. It really just depends, honestly. It depends on the characters, and then I guess the theme. I guess if it's just discounting the characters and it would only be the theme, I don't know. It's hard to say because there's just so many good ones. Next up, we have a question here from Petunia Girly. They say, hi Zeez, I've only been playing for 7 months, so still quite new, but you helped me improve a lot. Their first question is what Hunter Melly's ability / skill set will be. This one I'm still, again, I kind of touched on it a little earlier. I really don't know, honestly. It's so hard to say. I did say I wanted to be chase and map pressure oriented, very little camp, as that's just kind of my playstyle. I do believe Melly is the type of character to have mediocre camp and have good chase and map pressure. Maybe heavy on the map pressure, honestly, because she controls insects, which she'd be able to control like throughout the map. So she feels like a hunter that should have incredible map pressure, if you ask me. But I don't want her to end up being like Ivy, where she ends up being a snooze fest either, because some of those map pressure hunters are very, very slow and take forever. So I want her to have good chase as well and cut back a little bit on that map pressure. So I don't really know. I'm really hoping her to have like a really interesting design of like maybe like a cool moth or some parasite looking thing, or I don't know. I have a couple like interesting names like Hive Mind. I've heard someone say Metamorphosis would be a really cool name for Melly as well. I don't know. She could be like something really cool, come out of like a chrysalis and be like some cool butterfly or moth. It's just, I don't really know what I wanted her abilities to be, because I thought about like a swarm that you can control separately from her, like what her base kit does. And like inside the swarm, survivors would get like these debuffs, and then she could chase survivors inside the swarm, or she could send out the swarm on people decoding. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to like come up with a design specifically for that without making it like super overpowered. Because I did think about stuff like that, but I always made it like way too OP, and I don't want Melly to be OP. I want her to be fun, but I don't want her to be OP because people hate on her. So I don't know. I want to find like a good striking balance, and I haven't really been able to do that well enough yet. Their second question is, if you improve significantly like Tourney level type of player, will you try to aim for COA? I mean, that's a good question. At the current moment, I would stand no chance against any COA player. You know, I can get peak tier, but that's about my limit right now. Yeah, that's about my limit. My skills have been improving a little bit, but there's still a long way to go before I'm COA ready. So I don't know. There's a part of me that's interested, but there's also the part of me that's like, that's gonna take forever So I don't know. I really just don't know. The third question is, do you wear wigs? Have I worn wigs? Will I wear wigs? When will I wear wigs? Okay, those are some interesting questions. I don't wear wigs. I do own a wig, but it's not with me anymore. It was like for a Halloween costume. But if I ever do like a cosplay in the future, maybe. But I don't really wear wigs. No, I'm sorry. Next up, we have some questions here from Seiken Raz, I believe their name is. They say, I've been waiting for this first question. Who do you think is the best looking survivor or hunter in this game? If you're asking about conventionally attractiveness, I don't really care too much about that. But if you're asking about design-wise, I do think the best design survivor is Entomologist, and the best design hunter is Soul Weaver. Both their designs are so fire, so cool. Like, you can do so many things with those designs, honestly, especially for skins. Soul Weaver has, like, no bad skins, in my personal opinion. Some people think some are ugly. I think all of hers are really, really cool. And same with Melly. I think all of hers are just so freaking cool. Their second question is, do you have any jobs other than creating content, or do you have any other hobbies? Well, as for hobbies, I have tons. I just don't have as much time to explore a lot of them. And as for another job, I don't anymore. I used to have a job, but I quit it around 2 years ago to focus on full-time content creation. But there might be a chance I pick up a new job in the future if it's something that I'm interested in. And the third question is, how did you become friends with Santi, Zeus, Hikaru, etc.? So that's a good question. Zeus was the first friend I really made in this community. Outside of the people that were commenting in my comment section, Zeus reached out to me through email and was like, yo, I like your content. I see that you're interested in tourneys. Would you rather like commentate tourneys sometime? I think that'd be really cool. And I was like, okay, sure. So we did that and we filmed the video, and it was a little awkward, but it was fun. But after that, I think Zeus and I talked for like 3 to 4 hours, and he told me like the history of IDV, the community, showed me his old videos and whatnot. And we just kept talking and talking about other games that we played, how we both like Pokemon and stuff like that. And we just became really, really fast friends. And it was very, very, very fast, honestly. Like Zeus and I became very close, very quick. So I'm grateful to him for reaching out. Next is Hikaru, I believe, of the order of these three. I met Hikaru next. Now, I knew of Hikaru as a content creator because I think Zeus did like a tier list review, talked about Hikaru a little bit. So I knew of Hikaru, and I had seen a couple of his videos, but I didn't like know him personally. And then he actually reached out to me saying that he would be willing to coach me as Hunter because I was trying to get better as Hunter. And that actually really helped because the way I used to play Hunter was I did not really pay attention to like things on the map. I didn't have any game sense. I was kind of just like if something was visible on the screen currently, I would focus on that, and that was it. I never really knew, oh, where are the rescuers coming from? I didn't know where people spawn, you know, stuff like that. And Hikaru was the type of person to be like, okay, here's how game sense works. And he was like the main person teaching me that, and it was really, really helpful in my future Hunter games. So I'm very grateful to Hikaru for that. And then after that, I think it was like a couple months later, he was like, hey, I'm gonna do a series of Survivor where I try to get peak tier rank. Would you like to join me? And then obviously that's where that started. So now we just rank all the time, which is just honestly so much fun because I can get content out of it. It's fun playing with friends. It's good for practice. Like, it's good for so many different things. So I'm really glad that I kept doing that. And that Santi, Zeus, and other people join in with us as well. It's so much fun playing with friends. Then as for Santi, I think of the three of them, Santi was the last one that I met. Santi I met actually in rank. He tells a different story, which is funny. Every time you ask him, he tells the story incorrectly. I know it correctly because I remember commenting on his YouTube about it. The evidence is still there. I can go back and see it. But I was ranking with Zeus and GSL because they taught me a lot about like Survivor rank and whatnot, right? I was ranking with them, and we actually ran into Santi's Ann on Lakeside Village. I was playing Antiquarian. I think I was Bluebell Blue skin, and he was playing Ann. And obviously he destroyed us, like absolutely destroyed us. And I was the last person left, and he actually let me have dungeon. And they were like, oh, it's Santi. Oh, this guy's Santi, bro. And I was like, Santi, I've heard that name before. But I didn't really know who he was. I just knew I'd heard the name before. It was like vaguely familiar. And he gave me dungeon. I think during his stream, he was like, hey, Zeez, if you're watching, I'd love to play Duo Hunters sometimes. Like, that'd be so much fun. Let's play some Duo Hunters. So I commented on his stream, and I said, yeah, we can play Duo Hunters sometime. That'd be fun. And it's interesting because the reason I recognized the name was not actually because Santi did content, but because Santi actually played in COA earlier that year because I had met him after COA 7 sometime. Because he played in NAEU Regionals as like Night Watch, Breaking Wheel, and Opera Singer. I think I want to say it was those three characters. So Yeah, Santi was actually the person I stole the drop-down blink trick in Basin from as well, because I saw him do that as Wheel and Never Sleeping, and I was like, "Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna steal that trick." So yeah, that's how I met Santi. We played Duel Hunters. I think like a few days later after that, and we became quick friends. Kind of similar to Zeus and I. We became quick friends. I became quick friends with all of them. They're all such nice people. They really helped me out in different ways, and I'm very grateful to them. Not only for helping me, but for being my friends. They're also awesome. Next up, we have some questions here from HHFQRT. They say, "Hi Zeez, first question, what country or countries would you like to visit?" This is a really good question, actually. It's kind of funny because I feel like deep down what I really want to do is travel. I really want to travel. I really want to see the world. Unfortunately, traveling is dummy expensive, and I just can't afford it, which is really sad. But I would love to be like, there's a lot of creators out there that do like tourism and traveling to countries as like their content, and some of them more respectful than others. But I feel like I would want to do that, but in a way that's like respectful to the country. I would like want to learn about their culture. I'd want to visit like really beautiful landscapes and whatnot, because I really love nature. I'm very into nature, so I'd love to look at like nature and the geography of the country as well. I don't know. I feel like, you know, I'm not going to be young forever, so I would love to do that someday, but it's just like, there's a part of me that's just like, I need to work really, really hard right now to make as much money as possible to be able to travel the world, to be able to see the world. Otherwise, I'll never get the chance to. It just sucks that it's so expensive. So I would say, honestly, any country. There's so many beautiful places in this world, and I want to see them all. And I'm sad to say that I don't know if I'll ever have the chance to. The second question is, what survivors/hunters would you like to start maining? Now, that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure, because I already do have quite a few characters that I play. I think I have like 10 to 15 characters that I already play. I think most people already know which characters those are. But in terms of characters I'd like to get better with for survivors, I think first one would definitely have to be most likely Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper actually looks really interesting after seeing him played in COA. Like for rescuers, I'd really want to get better at Grave, because Grave looks like a lot of fun. I think I would really like to get better as Archer as well. Archer looks really, really cool, and she feels kind of difficult to play. I feel like she's kind of heavy matchup based. Like, you have to know when to shoot the arrow versus some characters versus like to save it. And then I just think her crossbow is like just so cool, because she has 3 arrows but 2 crossbows, and I feel like you could just literally use the crossbows as like a flywheel and it could still work. I just feel like it's kind of hard to play that character. And then finally, I would love to learn how to become a better Aeroplanist, because Aeroplanist is played in tournaments all the time. He is still a very, very good character, but he's hardly ever played on any EU. And I feel like he's really tricky to play well, because every time I play Aeroplanist, I feel like I use the jetpack and I die immediately after. Like, the hunter catches up immediately. When I see him played in tournament, it's like he gets so much distance from it. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like I just have to know when to use the jetpacks and how. And I feel like it's just kind of hard to play him. And then also the hover, it's like, to get some of those crazy hover clips, that would be so awesome. So I would put Charles up there as well. And as for Hunter, this is actually coming up here soon. Hunter, I'm actually gonna try hard next season as much as I can. Probably after COA, I'll be trying harder as much as I can. Maybe see if we can hit Hydra. I don't know if we'll be able to, but we'll see. Currently, I only play like 2 Hunters well, and that's Nightwatch and Fool's Gold. I do play a little bit of Naiad, a little bit of Anne, a little bit of Gamekeeper, a little bit of Nightmare, and my Goatman is like okay, not great at all, but he's okay. But I do need to learn some other hunters, and I think next season I do want to focus on learning Gamekeeper. And Irad was the biggest inspiration from that, so I do want to try to focus a little bit on Gamekeeper. Maybe Geisha, maybe Lizard, because I feel like Lizard can just cheese people really easily and get like draws pretty easily with Grand Slam. So maybe some of those characters. I'll have to figure it out soon though. But Hunters, I'm not as sure about. Not as sure about at the moment. The third question is thoughts on Smiskis. Now, I had to look up what Smiskis were, because I did not know what Smiskis were. They're like these little glow-in-the-dark dolls, I guess, and they're just like these little guys. I don't know. I've never seen these things before, so I don't really have much of an opinion on them. They're kind of goofy looking, but I guess they're fine. I don't know. I've literally never heard of them before. Their fourth question is, what were your favorite subjects when you were in school? I loved science. I loved science, absolutely loved science. I loved pretty much every science subject that I had to do. Biology, chemistry, physics, loved them all. Those are so much fun. I took computer science as well. Computer science was another really fun one as well. Foreign language, I love learning foreign languages, Japanese. That was really fun. But I freaking don't like math. I'm so bad at math. I don't know why, I'm just so bad at math. I used to be so good at math when I was younger, but the second I had to start learning calculus, bro, like my brain can't handle that. I don't know why. Like everything up to calculus was okay, right? I was like, okay, this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. I reached calculus, my brain for some reason just could not comprehend it anymore. I just couldn't. And I still studied hard. I studied as hard as heck and I failed calculus, but I just couldn't. I don't know what it is. My brain simply doesn't let me understand calculus. It's so difficult for me, and I don't know why. And the final question is, thoughts on Mad Eyes? I love Mad Eyes. I think Mad Eyes is so freaking cool. I think we need more Mad Eyes players because he's just never played. He's very rarely ever played on this server. There's like 4 or 5 Mad Eyes players that I actually know, and then one of them who is like actually insanely good with Yuko. They're probably the best Mad Eyes on the server. And I just wish there were more Mad Eyes players because Mad Eyes, in my personal opinion, is actually a really interesting watch. I think Mad Eyes would kind of have the Ivy effect. If he was played all the time, he would be kind of boring. But because he's so rarely played, and because he's so difficult to play, that whenever you see a good Mad Eyes, you can't help but just be like, okay, that was crazy. Like, that's crazy. You're awesome. You're insane. I just think he's so much fun to watch. There's so many different little strategies and setups and stuff. And the second you learn all of them, you can get stronger and stronger, but he's just really hard to play. And every time I play him, I literally just get 4-escaped, and it just feels awful. Next question we have here is from Fish. Fish says, hi Zeez, you mentioned something about an upcoming tournament you were practicing for. Could you tell us more about that? What is it? When is it? What team are you playing for? What are you doing to practice? Unless I'm entirely wrong about that. And I think they also asked about the competitive field of IDV. I think I answered that earlier. They also say some kind words. Thank you so much to Fish. So yeah, we did, quote being, did have an upcoming tournament. However, we did not get accepted for the tournament. So Shad actually invited me to a team called Riptide, and we were practicing, I want to say, I think we practiced 3 or 4 times already. I did miss one of the practices due to COA, but we were just mainly practicing the meta. That's essentially it. We're literally just practicing meta, who's on what character. And I'm on a team with Santi and Shad as well, for those who know them, as well as a couple other players that we've been making friends with, which is really fun. Unfortunately, though, we did not get accepted into the tournament, so we will not be playing because there were only 8 teams to be accepted, and I think like quite a few of them were rejected. But I know CH4 will be in the tournament, so I'm really excited to watch it. And we're still going to try to participate in another tournament that's upcoming as well, but I think it'll be a little bit later. The tournament was supposed to be this week, but we didn't get accepted. So next tournament will probably be sometime in the summer. I just don't know when. Next up, we have some questions here from White Green. They say, hi Zeez, how is it going? Here's my first question. First question is, what's your favorite animal and favorite food? I feel like my favorite animal kind of just changes all the time, because I don't really know if I ever have a distinctly favorite one. Although I am very partial to aquatic creatures. I love fish, I love orca whales, and I love jellyfish. Just all different kinds. I guess the biggest thing is I just really like sea creatures for animals. Obviously I like the standard dogs and cats as well, but I like, as cute as those guys are, and I love petting them, I think I'm a little more intrigued by sea creatures, you know, the things that are usually out of everyday reach. And as for my favorite food, I love soup. I love soup. So many different kinds of soup, but I just love soup. Even just a standard chicken noodle soup is so good, dude. I absolutely love soup. I'm actually gonna have soup after I finish this video because I love soup. Their second question is, do you plan on doing more vlogs? Love your IRL content. The fish video is very cute and silly. Yes, I would love to. After COA, I hope to do one around every 2 weeks. I want to force myself to get out of the house more, so I would love to, but I have to wait until COA finishes, and then probably maybe like a couple weeks after COA, I'll see if I can pick up on the vlogs because I love doing them. It seems like people also are interested in them, and it's just that thing of like, you know, getting out and experiencing the world, and I really want to do that more because I need to get out of my house more. I'm always working. I need to experience other things. Their final question is hard-boiled egg or soft-boiled egg? This one would be different at what point in time you asked me. I used to love hard-boiled eggs. Now I'm not super crazy about them. I do like soft-boiled eggs though now. I do really like soft-boiled eggs. A lot of that thanks to my roommate because she typically makes soft-boiled eggs for a lot of the dishes that we make. So yeah, I think I would go with soft-boiled eggs for now. Next up we have questions here from Silly Ban IDV. They say, hi Zeez, first question. I was just curious about why you don't stream rank sessions from your point of view much anymore. I don't mind turning into streams like Santi, Hikaru, and Zeus, but I was just curious if you had issues with potentially taking viewership from them, or if you don't feel confident / comfortable showing your streams, etc. So I guess that's in asking about Survivor live streams, because Hunter I obviously have to showcase from my side. I will be streaming Hunter more next season, because I need to. But people don't like tuning into my Hunter streams, because it usually tends to be pretty negative, because I tend to be very hard on myself, very upset when I play Hunter, because I'm a bad Hunter. And I usually make really stupid mistakes and lose because of it. And I tend to complain a lot more in those streams, so people don't really like tuning in. But, you know, I'm trying to get better at it. You know, I'm trying to get better with my attitude when it comes to Hunter, but it's just difficult because I'm so scared that every single match I'm just going to get clipped and memed on and called bad. So it tends to irritate me more when I'm just kind of expecting hate after every single match. But when it comes to Survivor, I don't want to say I don't want to stream them, but I think the system that we do right now, where Hikaru and Santi tend to stream it more and I tend to record more, is better. I do think I would. I don't want to sound conceited here, but I do think my streams would take away viewership from them, just because obviously I have the highest sub count, and I really don't mean to sound vain, but that's just a fact, right? That is simply just a fact. Even a lot of us have like similar viewers, right? Like same viewers, and then it's like, why would I cut their streams when I think I prefer recording my rank sessions anyway for Survivor? I don't know. I think it's just a preference at the end of the day. It's just kind of a preference because I upload daily videos, and sometimes those rank sessions really help in needing those daily videos. And another thing, that's why I stopped streaming them as well, is because a lot of the time I don't take kite. A lot of the time I don't really do anything. So I feel like when I cut down the rank sessions into the best moments, it ends up being more interesting because Santi, let's be real, he's like the star of the team, right? Whenever he gets to do things, because he's the harasser, right? He always gets action every game. It's either he gets kite, he goes in for a rescue, he harasses, and like anytime I play a harasser, it's kind of hard because I have to essentially compete with Santi in that position. And I end up just decoding most of the time because he always harasses first. And it's like, no, bro, you can't harass. You have to go decode. It's like, okay, I guess I gotta decode. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard. And like, so unless I play a kiter, unless I get kite, it's a little difficult. So I don't really get my content in as often because usually Santi's the one who gets a lot more often than I do. But again, he's a better player, so it kind of makes sense for him to pick the harassing type characters that interact more. Their second question is, they say, I know you mentioned not feeling comfortable about doing guides as you didn't feel like you were good enough, but then I've been peaked you for 2 seasons. How do you feel about guide videos? Nothing in depth that could come off as misinformation if you mess up, but just tips and such that helped you climb the ranks. So I don't think I'm comfortable yet doing guides. Some people are fine with doing guides, like even if they are objectively not insane players, just because they want to make guides on like characters that they are specifically very, very good with. But I just don't think I can make a guide yet, because I think a guide for me, I would want to make like a master guide, right? Where it's like a everything to possibly know about this character, but I want to make a series, right? If I were to make a guide, I'd want to make like an entire series and like essentially a school. I'd want to make like an IDV school, but essentially like I'm too much of a perfectionist to like make a guide, and I don't want to fill it with misinformation, and I want to get like other people on board for the guides as well. Like when I think about making a guide, I want to make it like extremely high effort that people could watch for years to come. But at the same time, with how many buffs and nerfs always happens, I'm so scared to put in such a high effort guide that will just become outdated, you know? Like guides from 4 years ago, you watch those things, they're so outdated. It's like Flywheel didn't exist. So it's like, you know, stuff like that. And some people also do like, here's a kiting guide. Oh, but I played as a Chantress, so it's like, okay, but what am I supposed to do if I'm a raw kiter, you know? You get a stun every 5 seconds, I don't, what am I supposed to do? I personally don't like it when people make guides on how to kite characters when they're not playing as a raw kiter, in my personal opinion. It's like, okay, so I know how to kite it as that character now, But what about the other 30 characters, right? Like, it doesn't do much, you know? It doesn't really do much for me. So I would want to be able to, like, have a guide that applies to every character, and that's really, really difficult to do. The third question is, I think a core reason why so many people like your guessing rank videos, myself included, would be because we have someone who is a higher tier than us giving advice or just commenting on our gameplay. Would you ever be increasing production of that series, or would you know other content creators who would do something similar? I mean, I would like to do it more often. The biggest issue with guessing your rank is those videos take a long time to film, a long time to edit, and a long time to render. They take around like a total of 10 hours, and some days I simply just don't have that time. So yeah, that's why they're not like as often as they should be. And the issue with that as well is I don't want to oversaturate the series. It's my most popular series on the channel, but I don't want to oversaturate it and have it become less interesting. So I think the biggest thing I could do is do a live version and then have like maybe one guessing rank video a month, and then maybe like 2 or 3, maybe like 2 live streams a month about guessing your rank. I don't know. I'll look into it more though. I'll see. That's a very interesting question though. And the fourth question is, for every role, Dakota, Harasser, Rescuer, Assist, which character would you recommend people try to learn for max potential on ranking up? So I'm a little confused with the question. I think you're asking what character of those types would be best to learn. I would say if you want to rank up, it is 100% necessary that you know how to play a single rescue character. It is so important knowing how to rescue as a survivor, because the game is completely decided off how good the rescue is. You can have a terrible kite, you can have like a 30-second kite, but as long as the rescue goes off well, you can still draw. If the rescue fails, you are most likely going to lose any game you're in unless the hunter is bad, or unless the kiter already kited like 3 ciphers or whatever. In most situations in a standard game, if the rescuer gets stuffed, or especially if it gets stuffed, it's a loss. If it's a double down, you can't win anymore, most likely. It's going to be very difficult to win unless the kiter just continues to be goated. But yeah, in a standard game, the rescue is the most important, so I would say prioritize learning a rescuer. It's the least fun job in IDV usually, because you don't really get to kite. Kiting is where all the action is at. So I would say for rescuers, the 2 easiest characters to learn for rescue are Grave and Officer. Other people would say Mercenary as well. Mercenary is also very good. I think any one of those 3 would be really good. Grave is in a really good spot in the meta right now because he does get chased a lot and he has a good kiting ability. And he's also probably the easiest rescuer to play in my personal opinion, because he has a really fast rescuing speed when he hops out of the shovel. So I would say learn one of those 3 characters for rescuer, either Mercenary, Officer, or Grave. Mercenary, you have to learn how to elbow pad a little bit, and you have to learn how to time. For Officer, you have to learn how to juke, but it's not really too difficult. But Grave is probably the easiest one, so maybe I would say Grave is a good starter one. He's very good in the meta right now. When it comes to a kiter, I would say Acrobat. Acrobat really isn't that difficult to play. He's a little tricky because you can bomb into like walls and whatnot, so you have to work on your positioning. But I would say play Acrobat with like Knee Jerk or Acrobat with Flywheel to start off with. Acrobat is one of, if not the strongest kiter in the game, because he just doesn't have to risk Terror Shocks. He has bomb after effects, which can debuff the hunter. He can rescue as well with that red bomb. Like, he is an incredibly all-rounded, really solid character. So I would say for a kiter, definitely learn Acrobat. As for a decoding type character, I would say Prisoner is personally one of the best. I know a lot of you guys love playing Far Lady, and the reason why I say don't play Far Lady is because I'm going to be completely real with you. Far Lady wins off of gimmicks and not much skill, right? Because this is my issue with Far Lady, is like it's literally just luck. It is luck, the character. Because if the hunter like swings, pays attention, or is just like better, or just like guesses where you are, your kite's lasting like 20 seconds max, unless you have like full kite, right? And it's like, yeah, you know, a lot of hunters, for me example, I get out gimmicked by Far Lady, right? If a Far Lady, or if I chase like a regular character who's just kiting, maybe I can get him down like 40-50 seconds. I'm gonna get kited for a full like minute plus by a Far Lady because I'm terrible against her. But I feel like people are far too over-reliant on playing Far Lady to like kite hunters that they don't know how to kite, which is fine, but I don't think Far Lady teaches you anything, right? I feel like she teaches you how to like essentially ignore getting better at the game, because all you're doing is getting better at Far Lady. You're not getting better at actually kiting. You're just getting better at out gimmicking the hunter, which is fine for a while. but it doesn't actually teach you anything, and it doesn't apply to any other character. So like, sure, you'll be able to kite that geisha for now, but then the second you fight a good geisha as any other character, good luck, you're cooked. But I would say Prisoner is the best. Reason being is if you're not paying attention to what people are working on the ciphers, you always know because you can just, you know, press F, look at where all the ciphers, what ciphers have progress. It's really, really good for people who can't pay attention as much. He's really good for finishing ciphers across the map. One of the biggest things that hunters can do is chair on a cipher and pressure that cipher. But Prisoner essentially says, hey, I can connect to the last cipher and keep pushing it from afar, so you have to go back there and pressure that cipher again and again and again, which means you're not pressuring my teammates as much. And just in general, he is just such a strong character in the meta. Being able to long distance decode is honestly one of the most broken things in this game, in my personal opinion. I personally banned Prisoner in ranked because he's so frustrating for me, because I hate him finishing up ciphers that otherwise I'd be able to pressure. Every other character is fine, but Prisoner is just so very good because he also has a shock to help him kite with, and there's a lot of good ways to use the shot. You can shock into Pallet Stun, you can shock hunters out of their abilities, like Opera Singer out of her dash, stuff like that. So I would say Prisoner is probably the best decoder to learn. As for a assist type character, this one's tough because it really depends on what you mean by assist. Ones that can assist with like support, like a toy merchant or a dancer, but then there's stuff like Ada who can long distance heal. Then you have stuff like Meteorologist that can heal from a distance, but also can like push with Wind Blast as well. So I don't really know. There's not really a good one that I can pick for support, honestly. I don't really know. I think the biggest one I would say is probably Barmaid, though, because it's always never bad. It's never bad to have a heal on your team, and you can still kite with Barmaid too. Barmaid's a decent kiter. She's a decent support, so I would probably say Barmaid for support, just to start things off with. And their final question, I refuse to answer. Next up, we have a question here from the real Michael Morton, and by question, I mean threat, because they say, Zeez, this will be my third time asking is, it's me again, the Michael Morton, don't ignore me. My goodness, their first question is, if you got a free ticket to come to Hullabaloo, which act would you like to see the most? Well, I feel like I'm inclined to say yours, Michael Morton. I mean, why would I want to watch anybody else's? Why wouldn't I want to watch the star of Hullabaloo, you know? But I might be able to take a sneak peek at Violetta's as well. But yours is the one that takes priority, definitely. Their second question is, can you get a Mike S Badge someday? I have strong faith in your skills and it would make me a very happy Acrobat. Love your videos, by the way. Thank you so much for that. I could probably get an Acrobat S Badge. It's not a priority. Next season, my priorities are Novelist, Entomologist, and Antiquarian. Those are the three I want the most, and probably Psychologist as well. It's going to be hard getting 4 S Badges. I don't know if we'll be able to get them all, but we'll see what we can do. But I really want to get those 4 S Badges. But I think maybe the season after that we could go for an Acrobat S Badge because I do love playing Acro. So yeah, I can see about it. I'll see about it. Next up, we have some questions here from Angel. They ask, Ag1, will you ever play Little Girl again? I guess. I mean, maybe sometime. I don't know. I'm not crazy about Little Girl. She's not really like the most fun character for me to play. So maybe sometime, maybe on her character day. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Their second question is, will I make a video with the Crimson skin? That is a yes. I'm literally just like kind of putting it off because it's just a low priority project and I want to do an unboxing video with very good quality before I film that. So it's kind of just on the back burner for now. But yes, I will eventually. And the third question is, what do you think about the new meta? What will it be like after the next round of characters based on the previous 2 chapters? I can only assume you're talking about the characters like Meteor and Archer and Peddler who are not currently in the being played in tournaments yet. And it's kind of hard to say. I think Meteor will definitely see a lot of play. I think Archer will see a lot of play, and I think Peddler will also see a lot of play. I think all those characters are very good. Yeah, it's hard to say. I need to see Peddler when she comes out, because she comes out tomorrow. So I have to see Peddler, because I haven't really seen much footage of Peddler. I've seen like some clips, but I think she will definitely be played. She seems very strong. I don't know if she's going to be best in the game, but she's definitely, in my personal opinion, probably a top 3 hunter. Maybe 3rd best hunter in the game right now. I'm really not sure. I have to see more of her. But yeah, Peddler will definitely be played a lot. I don't know if she'll be played round 1 or round 2, but she'll definitely be played in round 3, that is for sure. And then as for Archer and Meteor, I don't know. I don't know if Meteor is round 1 viable. I think she might be round 2 viable, but I don't know if she's round 1 viable. Archer, I think is round 1 viable, but I don't know. I have to see more of it. She feels really difficult to play. I feel like I need to see more breakout players with Archer first, because I haven't really seen a really, really strong Archer player come out yet. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm really excited to see those 3 in action. Next up, we have some questions here from Little Enzo. They have 8 questions here. My goodness. Their first question is how to stay positive when randoms are throwing. This is a good question because I know people complain about randoms a lot. Even I do it sometimes. The biggest thing that I think it is important to realize is if the match was your fault or the random's fault, because a lot of people will blame stuff on the randoms even though they perform badly in the game. I'm a little critical of this as well. Sometimes I'll perform badly in a game and then I'll be critical of my randoms. But it's like, you know, sometimes you just hope. It's a lot of it is just hoping. It's like, man, I really wish they played better. But at the same time, it's like, I wish I played better too, right? Specifically though, if your randoms are throwing, the best outlook to think of it is if you know objectively that if it was them that threw the game, all you have to say is, well, we'll just do better next time, you know? It's like, we're not the problem. You don't have to change, right? Nothing you did in that match was bad. So that means it's fine. Like, you just have to be like, focus on the next one, you know? Like, if you're having a bad session because you're the one throwing, that's when you have to look at yourself and be like, okay, what did I do wrong? But if your randoms are objectively throwing and it's a bad session, you know, that's just terrible luck. Just look at it like, okay, well, if we got better randoms, we would have been better. Like, we're doing fine. It's them that are throwing. But again, it's easier to blame other people than yourself. So I would really take a look at your gameplay before saying something like that. Their second question is, any tips for kiting Nightwatch? So Nightwatch is a hunter that at high level can only get draws typically. He's very hard to win with because even if you get a fast down, he gets Cypher Rush to Oblivion. The only way Nightwatch can win is if he chairs on a Cypher or double down / stuffs a rescue, which is really hard for him to do. Or he just has really, really, really good chases. The easiest thing to do against a Nightwatch is simply keep track of when his wind is ready. It's 13 seconds. So literally once his wind ends, count to 13 in your head and be like, okay, then his wind isn't ready. Keep in mind that he can almost always have a wind stack as well. He'll usually have a wind walk or a dash to catch up to you, especially if he's full presence. He'll usually have a ton. But literally, it's just pallet spam. Nightwatch, it has a lot of difficulty with pallet spam, especially in a area with like double pallets. Double pallet areas kill Nightwatch because he's forced to break one of them. He can't just jump over them because you can almost infinitely loop them over and over again unless he has peepers. So yeah, a lot of it is just like pallet spam. Essentially just pallet spam, but know what pallets to spam. A lot of it is just knowing what pallets you gotta spam. And also just like, if you win a mind game against a Nightwatch, he's usually pretty cooked because he has to typically use up a resource to try to help him win a mind game. And if he uses up a resource and doesn't win the mind game, you kite like 15 more seconds, which is just more Cypher Rush, which means he's just gonna get a draw. Their third question is something I refuse to answer. Their fourth question is, will I be cosplaying soon? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking into potentially getting a Melly cosplay because I don't just show my face, but I'm not sure yet. Their fifth question is, if you could add one more ability to Melly, what would it be? I really like all the buffs and nerfs that she's getting. I think she deserves all of them. There's one more ability that I think it would be nice, or I guess like 2 more buffs, I should say, that Melly could really help to make her even stronger. First buff is make it so that chips don't deal half damage to the bees, make them only deal a chip, like how it works with Wildling Boar. And also make it so the bees don't take a full durability from a chip damage, right? For example, when a hunter swings at bees, I think it's 17.5% gets taken away from the bees. But when you chip the bees, 17.5 is also taken away. It should be half of that. It should be a quarter of, 35% if they get chipped. Currently, that is not the case. I really wish they would add that to make the bees a little more durable. And then I think what the bees need as well is a similar buff that Gravekeeper got to help support more, right? Because typically hunters can outspeed the bees very easily when you're trying to like think it like this. When you are chasing a hunter with the bees and the survivor is running away, it's really hard to harass because the hunter, your bees moves faster than the hunter's base walking speed, but you have a speed boost, you can't catch up to them. You know how Gravekeeper has that like explosion out of the shovel where he can like move his shovel really, really fast? I think if Melly had like that for her bees and she could like shove her bees a lot forward and then like sacrifice like 15% of the bees to do that, that would be really nice. Now, I don't know if I would want that to be the case because then you could push the hunter really far back and that would be really strong. But maybe you could only do that to like move ahead of the hunter and then you could like catch up and then push them back afterwards. It would eat up a lot of durability though, but I think it would be a nice buff for Melly. But to make it balanced, it would have to use up a lot of durability. Their second question is, aside from IDV, what is my favorite game of all time? I don't know if I have a specific game of all time. I do really love Fire Emblem and Zelda, though. Those are like 2 of my favorite game series. I think I lean toward Fire Emblem being my favorite, but Zelda is also just really, really good. Those are my 2 favorite game series, though. I absolutely love Fire Emblem and Zelda, so most of the games in those series I just absolutely love so much. And their 7th question is, will I be playing some modes like Blackjack for a while? No, I don't like Blackjack. I don't see myself playing Blackjack, but I could see myself playing some of the other entertainment modes in some upcoming videos, but not Blackjack. I hate Blackjack. I absolutely despise Blackjack. I think that mode is awful. And their 8th question, I refuse to answer. Next up, we have some questions here from Angelite IDV. Hello, Zeez. Just a few questions. First question is, how do you relax or deal with stress from IDV and being a content creator? That's a really good one. The answer is I kind of just brute force it. That's essentially it. I brute force until I break down. That's really, I've had a few videos where I just kind of like reach my limit and then just have like a video where I just talk about it all. Essentially, it's like a little therapeutic for me. It's not really the best way to deal with it. Honestly, it really isn't. But yeah, that's really just kind of how I do it. There really should be better ways. I'm very bad at relaxing because the way that my relaxing always feels like I'm procrastinating, which is like obviously not the mindset to have, because you need to be able to rest properly to be able to function at your peak. But every time I try to rest, my mind is always floats to like, you're wasting time, you're wasting your life, you're wasting, you could be working right now, stuff like that. And it's really hard to get over that mindset. It's really hard to put those thoughts to rest and allow myself to relax. So yeah, it's not the healthiest decision, but I literally just brute force through it, and I need to get better at like dealing with that in a healthy way. Their second question is, any goals that you would like to achieve for the rest of the year with your channel / other channels? I haven't really thought about specific goals, more like specific projects that I want to do. And I'm not gonna get into all the projects since that would just take way too long. But essentially for a specific channel, I'll have some more announcements on that soon. I'll probably have some like announcement video going into it sometime. I don't know if on this channel, I don't know, I'll figure it out. A lot of it is just projects, not necessarily, I guess my goal is just to finish those projects. That's the biggest thing. Not like any milestones or anything. It's essentially just projects I want to finish. And finally, they say, favorite thing to do while you wait for a match if solo? Yeah, when I'm in solo rank or solo, like trying to film like a video and the match times are just taking forever, typically I just read comments. I play Fire Emblem Heroes on my phone. I watch a YouTube video. Like it really just depends. It just kind of depends on like what I'm doing at the moment. I don't know. I don't really know if there's a specific favorite thing. I kind of just like all that like sort of stuff that doesn't take much time or much thought, I just do while waiting, usually. Next up, we have some questions here from Ode. They say, Jello, Mr. ZVG. First question is, they ask, are you still going to commission artists for the final 4 days of COA? I fear it may be too late or not, but I wanted to ask anyways. Yes. So my original plan with the final 4 days of COA was that I wanted to commission artists for the thumbnails for those. I thought that'd be like a really cool idea. And I wanted to make sure, like, you know, I paid them well. I want to make sure the thumbnails looked really cool. But unfortunately, I didn't set it up simply due to all the stuff that was happening during COA. I did not think COA would be as busy as it was. So I didn't set up the form. And if I were to do it now, I would put so much pressure on the artists to get a job done so freaking quick. And I don't want to do that because I'm asking for a lot of quality with those. And I wouldn't want to ask them to, like, do all that, especially when a lot of these artists are still in school and have like exams coming up. I wouldn't want to do that. So unfortunately, I had to kind of axe that idea. COA with this, there were so many things going on during COA, and I was simply too overwhelmed to set up that form to like ask for artist submissions. So unfortunately, that project kind of had to get axed. I really wanted to do that, but hopefully I can do something like that in the future. I don't really know specifically what for, maybe the charity streams, but I do want to bring back that idea, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do it this year, as sad as it is. Their second question is, are you going to stream No Sleep for Kaname Date on your gaming channel? I'm a big fan of your playthrough of the first and second game, and I would really like to watch you play through the next installment of the series. Yes, we'll be playing that game, hopefully around when it drops. I'm very excited for it. Their third question is, have you watched or looked at over the content of the past IDV anniversaries like you did with past COA stuff, both 5th Global NCN Anniversary is peak, by the way. I actually haven't. I haven't looked at any of the events. Haven't really looked at any of the trailers or like celebrations or anything. I really should, honestly. Maybe I should do a video like that where I did with COA, where I look at all the past stuff. I think that would be really, really cool. I have looked at some of the fan projects. There is like a live action Chinese fan filmed live action thing where they do like cosplays of the characters. It's run by like a fan channel that like does like a bunch of different fandom stuff. I think it's in Chinese. I don't know. It was some funny videos though. It was like really high quality, honestly, and I really wish they did more of them, but I don't think they do them anymore. Next, we have some questions here from Ann Takamaki. They say, which video editing program are you using for your videos? I'm planning to learn editing YouTube videos for part-time jobs, so I really hope you can answer this question. I actually use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit videos. It's a pretty standard editing program. There are definitely other ones out there that are free, very, very more popular ones. I think CapCut was one. I don't know if CapCut is unavailable now. I don't know. I've never really used it before, but I don't think it's available anymore. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, though, you do have to pay for Adobe Premiere Pro unless you want to, you know, join Luffy in the gang. But I use that one. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, and it's like, it's my favorite editing software. It's very easy to use for me. I'm just so used to it. It can get a lot of things done. Their second question is, which weather do you prefer, Sunday day or rainy day? I'm assuming they meant sunny day. It really just depends on what I'm doing that day. I tend to prefer rain because it just relaxes me. Sunny days are really nice for going out, but I also like walking in the rain as well, so I don't really know. I think like if I'm planning a big event that day, I want it to be sunny or maybe like a nice little overcast. But when it's like a lot of other time, I do prefer the rain. I don't know, I just really, really like the rain. But I also will say if I'm filming something, I want it to be sunny because rainy weather has terrible lighting and it's not really that fun to film. I mean, it is, but like when you're trying to film a specific thing that isn't just, hey, look, it's rainy weather, the rainy weather kind of ruins it, unfortunately. Next up, we have a question here from Nikki. 5 questions, actually. They say, first, what is your style of clothing? What clothes do you usually wear? So I don't really have any specific type of clothing that I wear. I kind of just mostly wear casual stuff, business casual stuff. It's really just kind of whatever I'm feeling like that day. I really don't think about it too often. Although I do not really prefer shorts or like short sleeve shirts. I do like pants and I do like long sleeve shirts. I don't know what it is. I've just never really liked wearing like short sleeve clothes. They just always made me feel like uncomfortable. So I tend to wear long sleeves and pants usually. But as for like specific styles, I don't really have a preference. I kind of just wear whatever. Their second question is, do you like to read or not? I actually love reading. I just hardly have any time for it because I'm always working on projects and whatnot. I actually have like 10 books that I've been picking up from like these little libraries out. Like people have like little libraries in Seattle outside their house that you kind of like trade in books with, and I've been like trading in some books, and I have like 10 books that I've been meaning to read. I just don't have the time for them. I was reading a little bit earlier today, but I do want to read some more. It's just hard to find the time. Their third question is, what do you think about fan fiction? I think fan fiction is really cool. I think it's really, really cool. I don't really read fan fiction all that often. In fact, I rarely ever do. I think I've maybe read like 3 or 4 ever. But I think it's really cool. You know, obviously people with a passion for writing can grow that passion through fan fiction. Obviously through fan fiction, you care so much about these characters that you want to continue their stories, and I think that's really cool. You're looking for the best in these characters, so you're continuing their stories and you're making up your own stories that are inspired by other stories. And I think that's awesome. I know fan fiction tends to have like a bit of a, what is the word, cringe. Like people tend to think it's like pretty cringe. It has that cringe element to it. And why maybe I can see that, I think it's just really cool that, you know, people are just inspired by other stories and want to write their own versions of them. I don't know. Their fourth question is, do you think you have a friend/friends to whom you can tell anything, trust easily or trust issues? Sorry if it's too personal. That's a good question. I would say for the most part, yes. I mean, obviously there are some things that like you don't tell anybody, but those are just like obviously very personal. And so I guess no in the case of anything, but if it's like friends that I can be very, very personal with and have like very deep conversations about like life or just anything, I do have friends like that. Yes, I do have like, I would say I have about 10 friends I could do that with. Yeah. Their fifth question is, do you like IRL accessories like rings, pendants, bracelets, etc.? I haven't really worn accessories in a very long time. When I was younger, I used to wear bracelets a lot. I actually used to have a little bracelet that I would wear that my friend gave me for like, gosh, I want to say 4 years. But it eventually broke, and I haven't really worn anything since. I've never been a big fan of rings. I did have like a friendship ring as well when I was like 12, but it was always really uncomfortable and it distracted me all the time. And every time I touched it, my hands would like feel all metally. I don't know. So not particularly. If I were to, it would probably be like another bracelet though. Next up, we have some questions here from Lemonyan. They say, hi there, Zeez. First off, just want to thank you for all your hard work till now. I feel like you're the only YouTuber that I could relate to. I don't really play IDV, but even then, I really do love to watch you and stayed for you, the human behind this channel. Thank you so much for that, Lemon. That's so kind of you. They do have a question here saying, if you have the opportunity to sit and chat with any professional IDV players, who would it be? Could be to teach you about the game or just for small talks, anything really. I think I would want to just talk to some of my favorite players, honestly, like Kazuneko, Persica, Emko, for survivors. Then for hunters, I would love to talk with Peter. I would love to talk with Akka, Choai from Wolves. I'd love to talk with them. Probably, I'll say those three. If I do like 3 for now, I'll probably limit to those 3. And I could already talk to, the NAU people, so I wouldn't really say that, but like I probably would never get the chance to talk to the other people, so I'd probably say those 3 for each of the survivors and hunters. Their second question is, do you have any advice for someone like me who really wants to get into content creating but just simply doesn't have the courage and is always self-doubting? How can you convince yourself to keep doing content creating without constantly feeling like you're not enough? Because I feel like you're someone who tends to be hard on yourself just like me, but you can still continue to stay in this harsh industry. That's a really, really, really difficult question. Because a lot of it comes down to, I want to say, if you're stubborn enough that your lack of confidence can be outweighed by the things that you want to do. I guess it's passion. If your passion outweighs your self-doubt, then you can do it, right? For example, that's the case with me. I have horrible self-confidence. I have very bad self-confidence issues. But my passion is what drives me forward. I love making videos. I love playing IDV. I love playing with my friends. And that passion triumphs over my self-doubt every single time. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, if you are passionate enough and this is something that you really, really want, focus hard on that passion and forget about everything else for now. That's the biggest thing that I can say is just kind of put your nose down to the grindstone and just have fun with what you're doing. And then think about what it all means later, because if you don't start, you're never going to, right? That's the biggest advice I think I can say for now. Again, when it comes to like dealing with that self-doubt, I don't have an answer for that. But the way I do it specifically is I just focus on what makes me happy and what makes me passionate, and I just try to hone in specifically on that. But yeah, I do struggle with the self-doubt thing a lot. It's tricky. It's very tricky, but we do our best to triumph it, All we can do is keep trying. Anyways, everybody, that is going to be it for today. Those are all the questions that we have now. There's still a lot more, and I say this every single time, and I never end up doing it. But if you guys want to see a part 2, definitely let me know. I think I can actually do a part 2 because there's still a lot more questions, and we still have some time before COA begins, so maybe we could do a part 2 to this Q&A, like, before COA begins, because it would give me, or maybe like during COA, maybe I could like have this come out during COA, because I still need some videos to film for COA, and this would be a good video to film, I think. So definitely let me know if you guys want to see a part 2. There's still plenty of questions I could answer, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope that I got some of the answers out there that you wanted to see, and for all you who are listening, thank you so much, and thank you to everybody who left a question. I do appreciate it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye bye.